UFC 316 Dvalishvili versus O'Malley 2. Why are we getting the rematch? I don't know. Full card, most confident picks to least confident picks. If you do not know how these videos go, we go from every single fight from the top of the card all the way to the bottom prelim. Khaos Williams, Andreas Gustafsson, and I give you my percentage chance I think every fighter on this card is going to have to go out there and actually win. Because I can give you a prediction. I can say Kayla Harrison by finish. But am I going to be super confident in Kayla? Maybe, but maybe not. Am I going to be as confident in Kayla Harrison as I am in Kong Wang? No, there's going to be differences in how confident I am on every fighter on this card. So this gives you a better idea of prediction, but whose predictions I am like really saying, yeah, this is what's going to happen. And some that I'm like, this could literally go either way. So we're going to look at this Google Doc here. The bolded fighters are who we do have winning this Saturday. Merab Dvalishvili, Kayla, Joe, and so on and so forth. We are going to start with the top here. Andreas Gustafsson, Khaos Williams. Make our way to the bottom. And at the top will be our most confidence. At the bottom will be our least confident picks of the card. Understand how it works. Let's get into it. Andreas Gustafsson, the first fight of the card, taking on Khaos Williams. Kind of short notice. Andreas was supposed to fight a week prior, but that fight got canceled. He was supposed to fight somebody. That guy pulled out. He was supposed to fight somebody else. That guy pulled out the day of the fight, so he cut weight. He did all that. Now he's got to move over here and fight Khaos Williams. Khaos also had an opponent, Uros Medic, pulled out. Then he had Albert Tadevosian. He pulled out because of a failed medical. So both guys had two separate opponents pull out for whatever reason. Now we have this fight here. I have Andreas Gustafsson winning this fight. Am I confident? No. This is one of my most could go either way type of fights here, because Andreas is the far better wrestler, the far better grappler, has the better cardio, the better pressure, better clinch game, all of that. But if Khaos Williams can just get underhooks and get off of Andreas Gustafsson, get away from Andreas, Khaos is pretty good at range, popping out that jab, using the boxing very well, and is the much better striker. So this fight literally goes down to who can get the fight to where they want the fight to be. That was a mouthful. I barely lean Andreas Gustafsson, but I am not confident. I am going 52% for Andreas Gustafsson. This one is literally a coin flip in the UFC welterweight division. And now we go to a fight that I think is even more of a coin flip in Mark Chowinski. We didn't look at the betting odds, did we? Andreas Gustafsson, I think he's the underdog. He's a 2-1 dog. So I am obviously not going to be confident in an underdog, especially a 2-1 underdog in Andreas Gustafsson. But I got Andreas winning very slightly in that matchup. We also got Mark Chowinski, an even bigger underdog than Andreas Gustafsson. And Mark Chowinski, ladies and gentlemen, plus 185, plus 265 on some of these bookies. He was becoming a really big underdog. He's taking this fight on short notice, but a thing that a lot of people don't recognize is, of course, he's taking the fight on short notice, but he was actually training for a fight the week after. June 15th, he had a fight against Zach Zane, but it was in the welterweight division, so there are some unknowns there as well. Again, am I confident in Mark Chowinski? No, I am not. I'm actually even less confident than I am with Andreas Gustafsson in Mark Chowinski, because it's just he's a little bit more unproven than Andreas. Andreas, we know what he's going to do. We know where he's better than Khaos. Mark, I know where Mark is better, but I'm not confident he's going to be able to implement that game plan. I'm confident that Andreas will be smart and stick to that type of game plan. I don't know Mark as well, so I can't be as confident. I'm going to go 51%, literally the definition of a flip a coin fight in the UFC lightweight division right there. That one could also go either way. So two fights starting off the card I literally think could go either way. Then we move on to a little bit more confident. We are going to be in the 60 percentile for Quillen Salkilld. Not crazy, but 65%. A little bit less than a 2-1 favorite is where I kind of think that Quillen Salkilld should be. I do not think he should be a massive favorite. I don't think it's a 50-50 fight either. I do see him definitely going out there and winning this fight. But am I confident? No, I am not. I feel decent about him. That's the best I can say about Quillen Salkilld here. The odds are insane. He is a -400 at the best, -500 at the worst. He's a massive, massive favorite over Yanal Ashmouz. We look at Yanal Ashmouz's last few fights. Trevor Peek, he was the favorite against. Chris Duncan, he was a very, very slight underdog. Chris is a very legit prospect. And then Sam Patterson, he wasn't even this big of an underdog against Sam Patterson and went out there and knocked him out in round number 1. Now he's this big of a dog against Quillen Salkilld just because he came out in his debut and got a knockout. Insane to me. That is a 100% textbook dog or pass fight right there. Textbook. Like, there's no chance any of you guys should be parlaying Quillen Salkilld. He is getting bet on because of his last fight. Before that, he had a pretty close fight with Gage Young, which went to a decision. Yanal can mix in the takedowns, get inside, land some dirty boxing combinations, clinch, and make this a little bit dirtier, a little bit rougher, a little bit grimier, and he could win a round or two. That's a lot closer of a fight than many people think. Am I confident in Quillen? No. Do I think it's a 50-50? No. It's the happy medium. Not a 5-1, 4-1 favorite like the betting odds have. That is a little bit crazy in my opinion. So, Quillen Salkilld, so far my most confident pick of the card. He's not going to stay there. He is not going to stay there. We move on to Azamat Murzakanov, who's going to move right on above Quillen Salkilld, even though I don't think he's as big of a dog or as big of a favorite as Quillen Salkilld. We look at where Azamat's odds are currently. Never mind. I'm totally mind-boggling. I haven't really looked at these odds. Azamat Murzakanov is even more of a favorite than Quillen Salkilld. He's minus 500 at best, minus 450 at best, and minus 600 at the very worst. I can't possibly be that confident. I'm not even 3-1 for Azamat, and they have him 6-1. I'm like 2.8, 2.7, somewhere around there. I'm around a 70%. I don't get why Azamat is this big of a favorite. Brendan Ribeiro showed some good grappling, some good wrestling in his last fight. His striking isn't amazing, but he's powerful, and he has a good right hand. He can definitely go out there and knock out Azamat Murzakanov with his range and with his height as Azamat is coming in. I still think Azamat's going to win. Those odds are insane. 70% is all he should be in this matchup. The odds for these favorites are kind of crazy. And for Chaos and Markwell, they're way too big of a favorites as well. What are we doing? There's a lot of fighters where it's kind of dog or pass. Mark Chewinski, dog or pass. Andreas Gustafsson, dog or pass. Yanal Ashmouz, Brendan Ribeiro, dog or pass. I do not get why these odds are so fluffed up. We move on to Ju Sang Yu and Jekka Saragih. I'm guessing this is another massive favorite. Ju Sang Yu is minus 450 at best, minus 567 at most. What are we doing? What are we doing? And I am going to move Ju Sang Yu in between Quillen Salkilld and Yanal Ashmouz. Right in between there. At a solid 68%. I'm about a little bit more than 2-1%, not 2-1%, 2-1 confidence on Ju Sang Yu here. I think out of 3 times, Ju Sang Yu wins a little bit more than 2 times against Jekka Saragih. 5? 6? Is crazy. 6-1, 5-1 for Ju Sang Yu. He's not even fought in the UFC versus Jekka Saragih, who again is one of the lower level guys in this UFC featherweight division. But Ju Sang Yu, his only fights are against, let me just say it, non-UFC caliber guys. He's unproven. There's a lot of unknowns with his game. He's got good calf kicks, good boxing, mixes in a takedown every now and then. But because he is more of a counterpuncher, when he does come in, he could get caught. He could get caught by Jekka coming in. So I can't be confident on Ju Sang Yu here. That is just a fight I feel. A lot of these fights are dog or pass. I'm staying away from Ju Sang Yu Jekka. I'm just going to be sharing up with you guys. But yeah, it's too big of a favorite. Yet again, another fight, another dog or pass, pretty much. Sergey Spivac, Waldo Cortes-Acosta. This is a stay away from betting Sergey Spivac, because I think he's a favorite in this fight. I got him winning, but my God, am I staying away from Sergey Spivac. My God. He is minus 144. At the best, you can get him at minus 122, which isn't horrible. It is not horrible at all. I want plus money before I am even going to think about betting Sergey Spivac. Sergey is one of those guys where he will look very, very on and get your takedown and ragdoll a dude, or he will fail the takedown, get lit up on the feet, fail another takedown, and get knocked out. That's Sergey Spivac. I can see this fight going one of two ways. Very dominantly for Sergey Spivac, or very dominantly for Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Straight up. Straight up. I'm literally going to go barely past Andreas Gustafsson. Another pick 'em right here. 53%. I feel a little bit better than Andreas because we know for sure he's got that game. When he does get you to the ground, he will finish the fight. Andreas, we don't know what he's going to do if he gets the fight to the ground. He kind of just has that clinch game. So we know a little bit more of what Sergey is going to do. So it makes me a little bit more confident. Not by much. Not by much at all. But 53%. Stay away. Stay away. That's a weird one. Kong Wang, Ariane Lipski. I think this is another massive favorite. Oh my God. Oh, wow. You can arbitrage this. If you are on Bet Online, and if you are on, what is this? Bookmaker. If you are on MyBookie. If you are on BetUS. If you are on any of these one, arbitrage this right now. Plus 430. 420 now. It's already, money's already going that way. Plus 420 when some of these are like minus 300. That's a big one. So I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to post this as fast as possible. And once I'm done, I'm going to try to arbitrage this, to be honest. It's just free money at that point. But yeah, I think minus 335 is a lot more realistic than minus 550. I think the odds should be closing down a lot more for this fight. I have Kong Wang a little bit more than 2-1. I think she is close to Azamat Murzakanov. She's close, but she's not quite there. Ju Sang-yu. I think she's right around Ju Sang-yu level in terms of confidence. I think I'm going to tie them. I think I'm going to tie them. Kong Wang is proven, but she got rocked in her Gabriela Fernandez fight. She's got that unknown, her chin. Then she got submitted. Ariane's got some good submissions, so there's a little bit of iffiness there for me to be confident. So 68%. I feel about the same for Kong as I do for Ju Sang-yu. Joshua Van, Bruno Silva. I feel very, very good. It's crazy. It is crazy. We're going to move him to number 1. Bow. Number 1. Let's look at the odds. Josh Van, where are you? Minus 600. How many big favorites are we going to have on this card? Minus 600 for Josh Van. Mind you, he was just a minus 150 over an unranked guy. Over an unranked guy. He was minus 170 over ranked Cody Durden. Minus 265 over a losing record guy. Felipe Bunes, minus 300. Kevin Borjas, minus 235. Jalgas, he was the dog. Charles Johnson, he was the favorite. He has never been this big of a favorite. And now he's getting his biggest step up in competition yet. And he's a minus 600. Do with that what you will. That's just showing that he's way too heavily favored. That's just market. The whole market is inflating the recency bias of what Josh Van has been doing. Do I think he'll do that again? Yeah. Yes, I do. I think Josh Van wins this fight. I think he knocks out Bruno Silva in the later rounds or wins a 30-27. 30-26 maybe. You never know. But to say 6-1 after he's had some close fights. Cody Durden, he lost a round. Ray Soria, I think he lost a round. I can't. I think 3-1 is fair. I think 3-1 is fair. 75% for Joshua Van here. I can't. Unless I'm clearly thinking this dude is better in the striking, better in the grappling, better in the wrestling. That's the only reason I would say 60%. Or sorry, not 60. Minus 600 on a fighter. But Josh Van hasn't been even a 3-1 favorite over anybody. And now he's a 6-1 favorite over Bruno. Nah, something's going a little fishy there. I'm just going to say that. Something's going a little fishy. Patchy Mix, Mario Bautista. It's a slight lean, but a little bit around that 60%. Not a 2-1 favorite, not even a high 60%, around a 64%. I feel a little bit better on Quillan Salkilld just because we know how good of a striker he is. He's got solid takedown defense. That is the recipe to beat Yanal Ashmouz. But there is that unknown of Patchy Mix and Mario. Mario's got decent striking. Patchy's got decent striking. Mario, his takedown defense is iffy, but it's been a while since we've seen that it's been iffy, so we don't know how much his wrestling has improved. If that made sense, comment down below. I can't feel that good about Patchy at all. I need to see him fight Mario, and then for his next fight, I could have a more clear grasp on Patchy Mix. As of right now, I'm going to have him a little bit less than 2-1. His actual odds, I'm actually curious. -162. It makes sense. That's right around where I have him. So yeah, I would say I agree with the odds. I would say I agree with the odds. We move on. Kevin Holland and Vicente Luque. A lot of people I've seen going for the dog in Vicente Luque here. I'm curious what the odds are, since I'm seeing a lot of people saying Vicente Luque. Wow, they're just not putting their money where their mouth is. Kevin is a -275. Started at -160. The money's coming in on Kevin Holland. But the public, like what I'm seeing in comment sections, what I'm seeing in my DMs and things like that, a lot of people saying Vicente Luque, which has me a little bit confuzzled because that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people saying Vicente, but nobody's betting Vicente. Do I think Kevin should be a 3-1 favorite? No, I would have him right around a 2-1. -220 makes sense. Anything above that is just a little much. I think I would say around a 2-1, maybe a little bit more. So again, right around, I don't know if I copied that. Let me see. Yeah, right around where Kong, Wang, Ariane, Lipski, Jekka, Saragih. But I do feel better than Ju Sang Yu. I'm going to go 69% for Kevin Holland here. I feel good. The height, the reach, the better striking, the speed. Vicente's chin is a little iffy as well. Neither guy's really going to wrestle and grapple. Seems like a pretty self-explanatory fight. I don't see how it could go wrong. There's a lot of people saying Vicente. I don't really see what their reasoning is. I'd love anybody down in the comments to say what your reasoning is for Vicente Luque winning this fight. I don't really see too many paths to victory. Feel pretty good to have him in my top 3 so far. Then we got Joe Pyfer. I think he's a massive favorite as well. Where's he at? -400 at the most. -314 at the least. I actually kind of agree. Not 4-1, but right around Joshua Van level. A little bit less. I'm gonna go Joe Pyfer 74%. I feel a little bit less than Josh Van, so I'll say 74%. I feel good about Joe Pyfer though. Better striking, more power, taller, lengthier, and better grappling. That is a full recipe to go out there and beat Kelvin Gastelum. And his 3 rounds. Joe gassed out a little bit in a 5-rounder. It's a 3-rounder. That's perfect for Joe Pyfer. So, feel pretty good about Joe. Again, Kelvin's not a knockout type of guy. He's a kind of technical striker. Gets inside, lands some good shots. Gets out. Uses his toughness and things like that. Joe's going to crack him. And if it goes to the judges, Joe's going to land the more powerful shots, mix in takedowns and win. And if it's a knockout, Kelvin's not getting that. Joe will probably get that. So, feel good about Joe Pyfer there. Then we got Kayla Harrison, Juliana Pena. It's interesting. My only thing is the Kayla cardio. I see Kayla winning this fight and dominating to a finish. And if she does it, I think we have a Juliana Pena come back late where she can win 2 rounds and it'll be a 3-2. But maybe if Kayla, gets worked a little bit too much in the early rounds and Juliana really pushes that pace early on and her toughness and her grit and gasses Kayla a little bit earlier on in the fight, could be a little bit more interesting. I just am not as confident as most. I'm going to go 66%. I'm going to say 2-1 for Kayla Harrison here. I'm not feeling the confidence as everybody else that is, because I've seen what Juliana Pena has been able to do. Just eat shots, get dominated, and then come back. That's Juliana Pena for you. Not by skill. She's not going to win this fight by skill, by strength, by speed, by technique. She'll win this fight by grit. -600 is what the odds have her. I think 2 out of 3 times Kayla wins. The third, Juliana toughs the fight out and finishes Kayla late, or just comes back in those later rounds and wins the fight. 6-1 is crazy. 6-1 is crazy. The most I would possibly say is 3-1 for Kayla Harrison, and that's pushing it also. I'll up her a little bit. I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I'm gonna have Kayla Harrison right around Azamat. I can't think if I want her above Azamat or below. I'll say above. And I'll go 71%. Again, not a big increase, but almost a 3-1 favorite for Kayla Harrison. Nothing crazy. 6-1, a little bit much for Kayla. So that's where I have her. Dvalishvili, one of my least confident picks of the card as well. I'm going to have Merab at a 56. 56%. I know, we saw the last fight. Merab won that fight, used the grappling and wrestling. I honestly thought it was a lot closer than most people thought it was when they originally watched it. I thought when I first watched it, yeah, O'Malley lost that fight for sure. I rewatched it. I was like, oh, okay. It was a little bit closer than I first thought. I watched it again, and I was like, there's an argument. O'Malley won 2 of those rounds, and he wasn't fully healthy coming in. If O'Malley's able to land just one more big shot per round, and Merab continues to do his takedown and not really land any grappling, not really go for any submissions, O'Malley can win the fight literally just based on damage. Literally just based on damage. I still think Merab will land his takedowns and things like that. But I think O'Malley will win this fight a little bit less than 1 out of 2 times. I can't be confident in Merab because we just saw he wasn't able to control Umar on the ground. I'm not saying that has anything to do with him controlling Sean O'Malley on the ground. But every time he got back up, there were rounds in there where Umar was outstriking Merab Dvalishvili. Sean can easily outstrike Merab. If O'Malley can stay at distance and spend every round just a little bit less controlled than the last fight and land a few extra shots than the last fight, O'Malley can easily steal this round based on criteria and based on landing just the more effective strike. Still got Merab winning the fight. I just can't be confident. So 56% for Merab. See what happens, man. See what happens. Those are my full card. Most confident picks to least confident picks. Our confident picks, everything above 70%. We got Joshua Van, Joe Pyfer, Kayla Harrison, Azamat Murzakanov. I feel pretty good about these ones. Kevin Holland, Ju Sang Yu, Kong Wang, and Quillen Salkilld. And then Patchy Mix. I feel pretty good about him as well. He's on the lower end. And then the 50-50s. Murad Dvalishvili, Sergey Spivac, Andreas Gustafsson, and Mark Chowinski. I think all of these fights can, on any given day, go either way. Very close fights there. Feel decent about these ones right here. And then I feel pretty good about these ones up here. So those are my most confidence to least confidence. The odds are crazy. So many 6-1, 5-1, 4-1, 3-1 favorites on this card. There should be a lot more. The gaps should be closed. The gaps, they should be closed is what I'm saying. A lot of dog bets to be made on this UFC pay-per-view. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. See you in the next one.